There's $100 bill in your hand right now. In the next 5 minutes, it's going to tell you whether you build a fortune or spend your whole life chasing your next paycheck. Most people look at that money and see a Friday night dinner, a new pair of sneakers, a streaming bill. The people who get rich look at the exact same bill and see a seed. The difference between those two people isn't the stock market, real estate, or Bitcoin. It's a 5-second decision. One of them makes today, and the other never makes. We call it the $100 decision. And that's exactly what we're about to break down. Let's start with the most common scenario in the world. You get your first paycheck, your first real allowance, or your first freelance payment. The money hits your account. And the first question that pops into your head isn't, how can I multiply this? It's, what can I buy with this? That's almost automatic. The human brain is wired to chase instant reward. You want those new sneakers because they give you status right now. You want to eat out at that expensive place because your friends are going. And by the end of the month, you stare at a balance close to zero and ask yourself, where did my money go? There's an extra layer making it worse: social media. You open the feed and see trips, new clothes, fancy dinners, all edited to look effortless. Nobody posts the empty bank statement that comes after. Nobody posts the Sunday night anxiety. You're comparing your starting line to someone else's highlight reel, and that comparison is unfair and expensive. You work, you earn, you spend, you land back at zero, and you work again. It's an exhausting loop, and it has a name: running on a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. And when you see someone successful online, the automatic thought is, that's not for me. I only have $100 left over. That's never going to make me rich. That feeling of helplessness is almost universal. But there's one detail that changes everything. Picture two versions of yourself, separated by time. Before, there's the person who gets the money and feels relief the moment they spend it, as if buying something is proof the whole month of work was worth it. During, there's the uncomfortable phase, the one where you start setting money aside and feel like you're missing out, like you're being left behind. After, there's the person who looks at a growing bank balance and feels a kind of calm no impulse purchase ever gave them. That shift doesn't happen overnight. It starts the exact moment you decide to treat money differently, even when the amount is small. You think the problem is that you don't earn enough. You believe that if you made an extra 5 or 10,000 a month, your problems would be solved. But most of the time, the problem isn't how much you earn, it's how you decide. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you can't save, organize, and invest $100, you won't be able to do it with 10,000 or 100,000 either. Math isn't the obstacle. Behavior is the obstacle. A lot of people say, once I make more, I'll start investing. That's the most expensive lie you can tell yourself. Wealth isn't a switch that flips on when your salary goes up. Wealth is a muscle. And nobody walks into a gym trying to deadlift 200 pounds on day one. You start with the weight that fits in your hand right now. Your first $100 is your first rep in the financial gym. Think about it this way. Nobody mocks someone lifting a light weight in their first month at the gym. Everyone understands that's just the beginning of a process. The problem is that with money, we don't extend ourselves that same patience. We want 10 years of results in the first week, and we quit the moment they don't show up. And this is exactly where the shift happens. The concept that separates people stuck living paycheck to paycheck from people building wealth is simple. The difference between buying liabilities and buying assets. When you spend $100 on something that loses value the moment you walk out the door, branded clothes, an expensive meal, an app you'll forget about in a week, you're effectively funding someone else's dream. You traded hours of your working life for something that's already dying. Those $300 sneakers will be worth maybe $100 at a resale shop in a year. $100 invested over that same year has already started quietly generating its first cents of compound interest. Small, almost invisible, but alive and growing. But when you take that same $100 and invest it in a fund, in stocks, in your own knowledge, something changes category entirely. That money stops being paper. It turns into an employee of yours, working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never asking for a vacation, never complaining, never asking for a raise. It doesn't have to be complicated. It could be a simple index fund, a bond, a course that raises your market value, or even a book that changes the way you think. The vehicle isn't what matters. The direction is that money moves forward, never backward. And that growth doesn't just change your account balance. It changes how you see money altogether. You stop thinking of it as just stacking up coins and start understanding that you're buying your own future time. Every $100 invested today is one less day you'll be forced to work 20 years from now at something you hate. Money buys freedom, and freedom is the real currency of the wealthy. But let's be honest, theory is beautiful. Practice hurts. The biggest obstacle in your financial life won't be picking which stock to buy. It'll be your social circle, constant comparison, and your own anxiety. Picture the scene. It's Friday night. Your friends are heading out to spend money they don't have, trying to impress people who won't even remember it next week. Someone texts, "Come on, don't be lame, just this once." And just this once repeats every single week. You decided to invest your $100 instead. You're going to feel out of place. It's going to feel like you're missing out on your youth while everyone else has fun. The pressure to give in is real, and it's strong. That's exactly why most people fail. They give in to their present self and sacrifice their future self. They'd rather look rich today than actually be rich tomorrow. This journey requires you to be okay looking boring for a while you quietly build the foundation nobody else can see. There's also a quiet doubt that most people never say out loud. Does $100 a month even make a real difference? Isn't it too small to be worth the sacrifice? That thought alone is exactly what stops most people from ever starting. People wait until they have an amount that feels worth it before they take action. And that day, more often than not, never comes, because the amount was never the real problem. It was the habit that needed to be born small before it could grow. If you think this is an exaggeration, let's look at the numbers. Picture two 18-year-olds. The first one decides $100 a month is too small to matter, so it all goes to streaming, games, and delivery food. The second one makes the $100 decision, invests $100 every single month into a simple index fund, averaging about 10% a year. 10 years pass. Both are now 28. The first one has absolutely nothing saved, just vague memories of things she barely remembers buying. The second one, investing only what most people spend on a single weekend night out, has already built up more than $20,000. That's not millionaire money yet, but look at what that amount actually means. She's built a buffer against emergencies. She can walk away from a toxic job without panicking. She has peace of mind. And if she keeps going for another 10 years, by age 38, that number passes $70,000 without ever increasing her monthly contribution. Time alone does the heavy lifting. Compound growth doesn't just multiply the numbers, it multiplies your options in life. And notice this math doesn't even account for what usually happens in real life. Income goes up, and contributions go up with it. If person B simply doubles her investment every time her income rises, instead of doubling her spending, the final result doesn't grow in a straight line. It explodes. The $100 decision isn't about staying small forever. It's about building the habit while the amount is small, so it can carry the weight once the amount gets big. In the end, you realize it was never about the $100. It was about who you had to become in order to hold on to it. The real change happens the moment a small decision stops being a one-time attempt and becomes part of who you are. It's the moment you stop being the impulsive spender and become the wealth builder. Nobody sees this moment from the outside. There's no post, no story, no applause. It's just you, alone, choosing the future over the present, over and over, until that choice stops requiring effort and simply becomes who you are. The amount never mattered. What matters is starting today and proving to your own mind that you're the one in control of your story, not your impulses, not comparison, not other people's pressure. So here's the question. The next time $100 passes through your hands, are you going to feed your ego for one night, or are you going to buy a piece of your own freedom?